Listen in to the Nick O'Neill Sports Show daily, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. All the local and national sports you can handle, right here on ESPN Radio, AM 1350.
Welcome back. This is the Nick O'Neill Sports Show, coming to you live on this Friday from Wise, Virginia. Again, if you'd like to write in, WNVA sports@gmail.com, or give us a call, 276-328-0024. We have made it to the weekend, guys. Almost there. Pretty close. Want to get into something that, we haven't. I always said when I started this show I didn't want to turn anything away. I like the off-beaten sports, so we actually have our very own Andrew. We got in a little discussion yesterday, and I said, why don't you come talk about it for us? So, Andrew, come on. Say hi to everybody.
Hey, guys.
Now, Andrew is pretty big in the community of this airsoft sport. Now, if you could explain to me Screaming Eagles Airsoft.
Screaming Eagles Airsoft was an airsoft team formed in 2005. It was originally a paintball team, but by the end of 2006, paintball in the area just died off, and I was only 15 at the time, 16 years old, and Trinity Airsoft opened up down here, down in Wise, and they promoted the sport of airsoft. So eventually, us playing paintball, we just went over to airsoft and just started playing that.
Now, when the paintball thing went down, how do you get a group of people together and get this started? What all sparked all this?
Well, at that time, it was school mainly. You always hung out at the lunchroom and you just talked, and everybody's like, "Well, we play paintball for my birthday and all that stuff." And we're like, "Well, I'll think about it." So I started playing paintball when I was about 11 years old with my cousins and some friends, and I've just been playing it ever since. And then paintball's good fun. I still would love to play it if it wasn't just so expensive, because if you look at airsoft and you look at paintball in comparison, airsoft, the guns may be more expensive, but in the long run, in terms of maintaining and buying supplies for it, it's a lot cheaper.
Now, say an average Joe like myself, say I wanted to get started, how much money do you think you'd have to save up to, get a good set of equipment and get going in this?
Well, if you're going to go into the mid-grade field, which would be your introductory level, a good gun would probably be under $250. You could probably get a few good guns for under $250, and that usually shoots around 300 to 350 FPS or feet per second. And you really don't have to have a lot of good gear to play with us. You don't have to have a tack vest or camo. You can just go out in your blue jeans and your sweatshirt and have little pockets for your mags. If you're not that serious into it, and you just want to play just for fun and all that stuff. I don't require anybody to look like they're in the United States Army to play airsoft.
Now, when you get a group of these people together, where do these kind of events take place? Like, are there organized events, or is it just you guys get together and, do something?
I try to organize events, usually at my house or my grandparents' house or something like that, because, you really don't have a lot of people around here who's really known to the sport, and not a lot of people are willing to let you go onto their property, like, say, all these abandoned buildings over in Appalachia where all the coal mining towns used to be and all that stuff, and the bathhouses. Some people may own that property that may not allow you to play because of insurance reasons. So you're pretty much stuck to backyard and woods and all that stuff.
Now, when you set one of these up, on average, how many people do attend this, or what do you need to get a good game going?
Well, when we started in 2006, Trinity didn't really sponsor it, but they kind of promoted this because they were more of a local store back then. But they had this Wise County Airsoft League, and we averaged sometimes around 20 to 35 players, something like that. And then ever since, for some reason, at the end of 2006, people just quit and just didn't play and played to their own backyard thing. And then the Screaming Eagles, we sometimes hosted games up to 20 people, but very rarely we got over 20. And only in the past 7 to 8 months we've actually got over 10 people, because compared to the rest of the nation, the airsoft community in this area is very low.
Well, I did notice when I was looking at some stuff online, there are a lot of places where this is pretty big. Now, with this kind of community, are there any events that you can take this team to, or is there anything you can compete in that's I don't want to say but like a legit competition where you get prizes or whatever.
Well, like I believe that we did have sort of like a semi-legit competition back in January 14th, and we were given prizes like giveaways that Trinity just were overstocked on. Just said, here's some flags, here's some bags of BBs, have fun with that. And we gave, and the guy who hosted it, he gave out those prizes, and the nearest real event would be down in SC Paintball down in Gate City. They have an Airsoft Day about once a month, and it's $5 to get in. And I haven't been there since August because it's been so busy in the fall. But I'd say the nearest places that you really could go to an organized event, and there's really no place like that's scheduled for Airsoft events. Like you have to go on the internet and look at all these events because you got these places that do these events every year. Major ones are like Operation Lion Claws, where they do these events across the nation, and you can get up to 600 to 1,000 players at one event, and the charge for the events are pretty outrageous to my pocketbook. You can get games, admittance to $35 all the way up to $200.
Now, I looked online at your YouTube, and that's tell us a little bit about your Screaming Eagles Airsoft 101.
It's a YouTube channel show that premieres every Friday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and it's really just a show that gives you gun reviews on airsoft guns that are new to the market or very popular to the market, and it really tells you, like, if you're playing airsoft, what to do, how to perform, and things that just talks in general about the world of airsoft.
Now, the production quality on some of these videos on this channel, they're very high. Is it you who does the production, or do you have a team of people, or how do you come up with that?
I do usually all of it all by myself. My last episode, which is premiering tonight at 8 o'clock, my father helped me on that one with a little help with his video editing skills, which are a lot better than mine. But a lot of those videos, I do it all by myself.
Now, when you want to set up an event, I noticed when I was watching some of the, let's go ahead and call them battles, there's a lot of stuff set up. About how long does it take you to prepare for something like this? Because there has to be a lot of pre-work that goes into it. I
usually don't try to have an event, mainly because of schedule changes and people working and all that stuff. I really don't try to plan an event for another, I try to go 3 weeks at least into advance to tell people we're playing this day at this time and all that stuff. And even when we get there, it usually takes about 35 minutes to an hour just to get all of the gear loaded up, get our guns loaded, and test our guns, see if they're not malfunctioning and all that stuff.
Now, I did ask you this earlier, but for our listener, does it hurt?
It all depends on what kind of gun you have. If you buy these guns at Walmart and you shoot yourself with them, bearskin, you may feel a little bit of a sting, but sometimes you can have guns, around 300 FPS to 400 is the average, and some guns shoot a lot higher than that. And in Europe, where it's really extremely popular, they have regulations of where you can't shoot people within a certain amount of feet of the BBs. But it can break skin, it can chip teeth if you don't have the proper safety equipment. We try to always say to have full cover goggles or at least a face mask. Paintball face mask works too. Because I've gotten shot. My first airsoft game I ever played, I just wore goggles and I got shot in the mouth and it hurt really bad, right in the corner of the mouth.
Now, for my take on this, if nobody's seen this before, I encourage you to look it up. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube about it. It kind of seemed like you guys were playing Call of Duty in real life.
That's all it is. It's a first-person shooter like Call of Duty or Battlefield 3 in real life, and that's what I love about it, because it's complete military simulation. You got paintball, and you can do your military simulation on paintball, but paintball is just not that realistic. And with these airsoft guns, they're exact one-to-one scale replicas of the real world firearms. The only difference is they don't shoot bullets.
Yeah, I did notice some of the guns. Those are legit big guns. It's not like most paintball guns have the same look and feel about them, but these guns, I noticed a lot of people had a different setup. Yeah. You'd think with the way we kind of discourage video games nowadays and try to push the kids to get outside, would you say this would probably be a healthy alternative for somebody that's into that kind of lifestyle?
Absolutely. When I was I lose weight every time I play. I burn a lot of calories. It's really physical. It all depends on how you play the game. You can make it depends on how you personally play yourself, but you can be a physically demanding player where you run, sprint, and all that stuff, or you can just sit back and shoot. But either way, you're going to be exhausting yourself every time, because it's not only running and all that stuff, but if you're wearing gear, like I have, about 20 pounds or 40 pounds of extra gear, you're going to you're going to feel it by the end of the day.
Now, why Screaming Eagles? I wanted to ask, who came up with that name and why?
Myself and Thomas Sorrells found it back in October 14th, and I was already a member of a paintball team called Team Vigilant, and then that team fell apart, and then I formed a team called Team Bushwhackers, and I didn't even come up with that name. I don't know how that came up. But around that same time, I think Band of Brothers started coming out, and that talked about the 101st Airborne in World War II, and they're always called the Screaming Eagles. So I was a big fan. Me and Thomas were both a big fan of Band of Brothers back then, so we said, let's call it Screaming Eagles Airsoft. And that's just how it happened.
Well, Band of Brothers is a great series. I can't blame you on that. Now, I've been to your page, and I've noticed, I mean, there's a big group of people that, like this and are interested in it. Do you get contacted a lot by people enjoying this? I mean, how many people would you say come to you, let's say, a month or a year? What's your average of gaining new people as far as recruiting them?
Well, ever since before June of last year, it was really slow. We get like maybe a few likes a week or maybe a few likes a month. It was really slow, but for some reason, ever since June of 2011, it has exploded. Like before October, like our Facebook page, we only had like maybe 75 likes, and ever since then we got over 28 views or likes right now. And I get an Airsoft message usually once a day at least from somebody either on our team asking a question or somebody from the Southwest Virginia Airsoft Federation, which is this big organization that encompasses of teams and individuals. And I get messages from other Airsoft teams down in Nicholsville and Norton and other places.
Now, if this is where you guys are now, let's say in a year, what would you like to have done or expanded, or what's your next step, I guess?
Well, I would like to see, out of the Federation right now, we have around 75 people involved in the Airsoft community that we know of right now. And we have a few players over in Tazewell. That's around the same number. So what I'd like to see in the next year is that we double that at least, and maybe have a big regional event around here where people even from Georgia could come and play Airsoft with us, because I mean at the end of February I'm going to Florida to play a game that's going to be 200 plus players, and it was $35 to get in. So I'm hopefully going there to get a feel of how big the community is down there in Florida, which it's really large in Florida, North Carolina, and California and Pennsylvania. But go down there and see if I can get it as motivation to increase the community down here, and see if we can get a big event like that up here in Virginia.
Now, you did mention earlier in this conversation the popularity of paintball, and it did seem in the, somewhere between 04 and 07, paintball spiked. I mean, It was even as much, I could say, as on ESPN, and I mean, people got really into it.
Yeah, I remember watching back in 2006, they actually had on WPN Sports, they actually had national paintball tournaments debuted on there.
Now, do you think the rise of the Airsoft popularity has a correlation to do with the rise of first-person shooter video games being at an all-time popular high?
That would explain a lot, because ever since around 2006, first-person shooters, I mean, you had Halo, but really in 2007 when Battlefield and Call of Duty started going into the modern warfare type, people have been an increased interest to play Airsoft, and they want to be like their favorite hero in their video game. They want to be, Soap. They want to be Captain Price. They want to be those famous video game characters. They want to be just like them. They want to deck out like them. I mean, I've seen pictures of people that wear the Ghost ski mask, from Call of Duty, and they, Army of Two. They actually sell Army of Two Airsoft masks.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Now, I would like to give you an opportunity. If people are listening and are interested in this, where can they contact you, or how can they go to you and get started in this?
Well, I mean, we have a webpage, screamingeaglesairsoft.wetpaint.com, and that's just our general website. But we have a Facebook page on Facebook, and we used to have a MySpace page, but nobody gets on MySpace anymore. And we have a Twitter account and the YouTube channel, and if you just want to get a hold of us on there, just message us on there, or you could email at screaming.eagles2005@gmail.com. And we have a phone number, but it's kind of inactive right now, but we're going to get that reenacted in about a month.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Andrew. Like I said, if you're listening, you definitely should at least give it a shot to look at it, because it actually kind of sparked my interest when I was out there. I mean, it's not just, guys shooting each other from 10 feet away. I mean, you have a legitimate setup and a legitimate competition. So, I would invite everybody to either contact Andrew or just look it up and get some information yourself. So thank you for coming on, Andrew.
All right, no problem.
All right.